All right, Chicago. If you like Long Beach, if you like Detroit, you're gonna like this track. Lots of fun, lots of barriers, lots of places to crash. So watch out for guys exploding in front of you, because I think that's gonna be something that happens a lot. Tracks 27. I haven't seen many race results yet, so I'm not quite sure where that stands in the overall temp, if that's medium, low, or high. So just watch out for that when you're out there. We'll go as usual slow-mo and then run it out at full speed. Description will have the car set up, so here we go. So just looking for this kink in the yellow line here. In fourth gear, I like to keep it in fourth. If everything's even, if there's a car in front of you, you might be shifting up into fifth if you got a draft. So just keep that in mind. So just after this kink, getting on the brakes pretty heavy, shifting down into second gear, aiming for this blue cone. You want to keep this barrier has an angle to it, so you want to keep as close to the end of this barrier as you can. You may even want to come in at a little bit of an angle to it, just to go a little bit more to the right, just to open it up as much as possible. Um, uh, if you hit these cones, it's a chance it might get stuck on your wing or tire or something. So hit those cones at your own risk. Shifting down into second gear, pretty hard on the brakes, and for a lot of these corners, most of them, it's braking hard and getting on the throttle as early as possible. You really do have to get off the brakes and get on the throttle to keep the back end steady in this track. If you're leaning on those brakes too much and you turn the wheel, you're going to spin out. So it's really important to get off the brakes, brake hard in a straight line, and pick up the throttle as early as possible. So yeah, before the apex here, I'm getting on the gas probably a little bit too much. Kind of understeered here a bit and had to lift, so don't do that. Working your way up into fourth, and then just working your way over to the left side. So coming up into this one, fourth, boy, I can't remember for sure. I think I'm in third gear actually. Leaving it in third gear, looking for this second from the end light post. In real time, it looks like I'm braking kind of parallel to it, but in slow-mo, obviously I'm braking a little bit before it. Down into second gear, hard on the brakes again in a straight line, load up the front and get your turn in, and then just feather on the power. Yeah, hopefully getting it on the power before the apex, and just let the car run out wide to the left side, and then working your way up into fourth. So coming up here, obviously the track turns to the right. This is going to be a big passing area, so you're going to want to get to the right to cover off the inside if you're battling. So practice defensive lines for this one, because there's going to be a lot of defense and passing here. So make sure though you do get over to the left side if no one's behind you or what have you, because this is what you really got to get to the left to open this corner up. Looking for the 2 board in fourth gear. Again, I like to keep it in fourth, but if there's a draft, you might be up into fifth. And in real time, again, it looks kind of like I'm braking at the 2 board, but in slow-mo, I'm already on the brakes before it. Again, pretty hard on the brakes, down into third gear this time, leaving it in third, and again, just picking up the throttle as early as possible. You just have to slow the car and get the turn in, and then you can really pick up the throttle really early here. This exit's pretty wide. I don't think you want to get too tight to that barrier. Just getting on the throttle and trying to straight line it as best as possible. This one's a little tricky for a marker. This tree So the tree before the blue signs, uh, in real time, it looks like I'm parallel to it. Again, in slow-mo, a little bit before getting on the brakes. Shifting down into second, again, just a hard brake. Well, not so hard brake on this one, but a good bit of brakes just to load up the front end, and then get the car turned in and get on the power. And just running it out. It does run out pretty wide here. I probably could have been on the power a little earlier. And yeah, just run it out to the left side, shifting up into fourth and working your way back to the right. Another big passing opportunity, so obviously you know, practice defensive lines here. So looking for this white line in fourth gear. Again, if you're drafting, maybe you're in fifth. Shifting down into, going to be working down into first gear. So getting pretty hard on the brakes for this one. This one, especially on cold tires, this one's pretty easy to lose your back end. So keep that in mind. This is a pretty hard braking zone. Down into first, turn in and get, now this gets a little tricky. There's a bump here. You can watch my left tire. There it goes. Hits that pretty hard and it kind of unsettles the car. So I'm not quite sure if getting that tight is actually the best, or perhaps turning in just a little later. So try that out. It's pretty quick, but it might be able to gain some time if the car stays a little more planted than this big bump here, because that one, especially on cool tires, can spin you out. So careful with that. Again, on the power, and just letting it get out to the right here. Open up the wheel and working up into third. This one is really tricky because this is one of the couple of corners that does not have much of a good marker. So basically looking for the end of this sign and then the beginning of this sign on the right. And in real time it looks like I'm braking about 3/4 of the way to the black sign. In slow-mo here it looks like I'm braking, I think, a little earlier than that, maybe halfway. So it's a tough one. There's no real good trees to look at, so this one takes a little feeling out. So braking down into first gear, again, pretty heavy on the brakes. And this one, yeah, you definitely do want to get as close as you can to this yellow barrier, and getting on the power as early as possible. And track gets a little bumpy here, but not too bad. Working your way up into second, and when the tires are warming, when you can take that corner quickly, I like to get into third gear on this straightaway. On cold tires, getting up into third gear on this straightaway might be a little tricky because you're just going a little bit slower. But I like to get into third. If you're in third gear before you take this corner, I find it's quicker. So just watch out for that. Yeah, so up into third, and again on cold tires, you may even have to brake for this, but on warm tires, it's just a bit of a lift. Probably if you're really good, you can probably take that without even lifting. And then you don't want to get too tight to the left side here, just kind of keeping your tires, the yellow line on the right, visible. You can kind of see the rubber patch in the road here where all the cars have been. So yeah, not too tight. Shifting up into fourth gear. And then just a little bit of a lift here again. If you're really good, you can probably do this without lifting. On cold tires, it's maybe a bit of a bigger lift. And keeping it well, again, on cold tires, you may be in third gear here, but once the tires are warm, you want to be in fourth gear, and just threading the needle, getting as close to this yellow barrier as possible, and trying to keep the wheel as straight as possible and full power as much as possible. And the track does get bumpy here, so braking is a little tricky. Basically, a couple of car lengths in front of this blue sign. So I mean, it's what is it, the fifth Xfinity board here, but in real time it looks about maybe 2 car lengths in front of the blue board. Shifting down into second. This one is pretty good on the brakes. Cold tires again. It's going to be a little stronger on the brakes. Maybe just brake a little earlier, because you really don't want to screw this one up, because you lose a lot of time here. And just getting on the power as early as possible. And again, this is the next corner where there's just not really a great braking marker. What I've basically been looking for is these small trees. There's the big tree here, and these darker, smaller trees. And basically, when you get up to these trees, it's the light standard in front of them. So this guy here, which is fourth from the end, I've tried counting them. I guess you can use this other side, maybe the fourth one, because it's easier to see. These ones, it's hard to figure out which one's fourth when you're going at full speed. So yeah, look for the fourth one on the right hand side here, or the light standard just before the dark smaller green tree, and then shifting down into second. A bit of a blast of brakes just to get that, again, the turn in, and just get on the power as early as possible. I could have probably been on the power a little earlier here, but anyway, yeah, get on the power as early as possible, because this is a big straightaway and you don't want to come in here slow. So get on the power early, and then it's just a race to the finish line and to turn 1, which again, this is a big passing zone, so practice the defense. And yeah, that's a 137.2. So there's time to be had there. I know the aliens are in the 136s, so hopefully this helps you out if you're stuck in the 138s, 39s, or 40s. There should be some things here you can pick up to knock some time off. And good luck out there. We'll see you next time.